Hello everyone, this is Colton with POSGuys.com, and today I'm very excited to be taking a look at the new Star Micronics TSP100IV receipt printer. It's the newest model in Star's flagship line of printers, and they've made a few upgrades and a few additions to this printer to really make it ready to use in today's cloud-based and tablet-dominated industry. So we'll start off by taking a look at some of the changes they've made, look at what stayed the same, and then finally I'll round off the review by chatting a little bit about what I think this printer means for the industry as a whole, because I think it says a lot about where the industry is headed. And so just to start off here, we're going to take a look at the exterior and pulling up the old TSP100IV here. And it's really easy to see real quickly that they made a lot of exterior changes. They gave the printer just a more sleek design. You have nice sharp lines and edges, very modern. Kind of looks like it's something out of a spaceship or something like that. And overall, I'm a really big fan of it. I think this is going to look really nice in any point of sale setup that you decide to throw it in. And I don't know if it's hard to see on the camera here, but it is about 20% smaller than the TSP100IV. So it's going to look great, and it's going to save you some counter space at the same time. So big fan of that. But that modern update doesn't just limit itself to the exterior of the printer, because Star has made some really big changes on the back here. If you can take a look here and see, they've actually replaced the old USB-B printer port that's been a staple of receipt printers for years now, and replaced it with a USB-C connection there. And that's really a reflection of Star's push to optimize this printer for the next generation. USB-C is just a faster connection overall. So that's a really interesting take. I haven't seen a receipt printer brand do that before, especially on an entry-level flagship product. So that was a great push by Star to do that. Now, I know that can sound a little bit scary, but if you're a Windows user, don't worry. Compatibility should still be the same. The most you're going to have to do is replace a cable and maybe upgrade your drivers as well. I know for some people that might be a big deal, especially if they've spent a lot of money to buy really long USB cables. But for your average Windows user, it really shouldn't be an issue. Another big decision that Star has made is they've decided to ship every unit with an Ethernet port as well. And that's really interesting as well. Generally, on their old TSP100IV line of printer, you had one or the other. You either got the USB or the Ethernet or Wi-Fi or whatever device type or interface type that it decided to go with. But they decided to ship all of these printers with both of those together, which is going to save you some time and money and give you a little more flexibility. Speaking of new ports, for people that are going to be using this with a tablet, there's some more good news. Star's decided to ship all versions of the TSP100IV with the USB-A port on the back. Using that port, you're going to be able to charge and communicate with any Android mobile device that's supported with Android Open accessory support. And what's really cool about that addition is that it doesn't just extend to the tablet itself. With that port and that support, you're going to be able to connect to things like scanners and maybe even like display devices directly from the printer. And have it kind of act as a little bit of a central hub for your point of sale station in a way. And that's going to give you a lot of flexibility. The downside with that is that your point of sale software has to be specifically coded to work with those accessories, and a lot of them aren't right now. Thankfully, Star has confirmed that there are some developers who are in the works kind of getting that set up and supported. Nothing is official yet, but definitely keep an eye on it, and keep checking with your software developers if you think that's something you might be interested in. With that, a quick note specifically for iOS users. iOS can be a little finicky sometimes with how software is programmed to communicate with these printers, so definitely double check with them before making the purchase and moving on over to this printer. We did a little bit of testing with Square in particular, and it doesn't seem like they've updated it yet. I'm sure that's in the works. They've supported just about every version of the TSP100III, so I'm sure it's only a matter of time before that gets pulled up. Finally, kind of rounding off the list of inclusions, every version of this printer is going to ship with cloud print support, and that's something that a lot of point of sale software and especially online ordering platforms use. Cloud support is kind of a web print service that Star provides that makes it easy for services to send to send print jobs over the internet. Star's had this on a few of their other higher end printers before, but this is their first inclusion on the TSP100III line. So between all of these different connection types, you should have a good bit of flexibility and getting this printer integrated with your system. If you were listening closely, you might have noticed that I didn't mention Bluetooth in any of this, and that's because Star has decided to hold off on releasing a Bluetooth unit of this printer until the global Bluetooth chip shortage has subsided. There's a big shortage of them right now, and it's making it really hard to build printers that have them. So they've decided to hold off. Don't worry, there is plans to release that unit in the future once the world is a little bit more back to normal. So be a little patient with that. But in the meantime, hopefully you can use one of those other connection types on this and be set to go. If you're looking for like a wireless option, they do have a Wi-Fi adapter that you can purchase that plugs into the Ethernet port. Give us a call if you're interested in something like that, and we can see what we can do to get that for you. But with all of that out of the way, it's time to take a look under the hood, so to speak, and see what this printer is capable of. And when you compare it to the old TSP100IV, you'll find that they're pretty similar in a lot of ways. Actually pretty identical all the way through. Both are going to feature a 10 inch per second print speed and can use 2-inch and 3-inch wide receipt paper. Furthermore, both are rated to print about 60 million lines before failure, and that's equal to about 110 miles of receipt paper, or about 2,640 rolls of standard size paper. And then just in case anything does go wrong, Star does ship each of these units with a 4-year manufacturer warranty, so that if anything does happen, they'll help you go ahead and get it replaced. So yeah, that basically wraps up the points that I wanted to make on the TSP100IV. But before I ended the review, I did want to chat a little bit about what I think this printer means for the industry as a whole, because I think it says a lot about where we're headed here. And I think what's really great, like I mentioned before, Star has really optimized this printer for tablets. That's kind of a change in course a little bit. They had originally wanted to just work with the MC Print 3 and kind of have that be their main tablet printer line. But I think that their move to really optimize this for tablets really says a lot about where the industry is headed right now. Tablet-based setups have become super popular since since the start of the pandemic, especially with curbside pickup and online ordering becoming really a staple for a lot of businesses. The inclusion of Cloud Print is also a pretty interesting feature on this particular unit. Cloud Print has been supported on some of Star's higher end printers for a while now, and this is the first time I've seen it done on their entry-level product. And I wouldn't be surprised if other major manufacturers follow in Star's footsteps and develop similar technology in their entry-level printers. We've seen Epson do that a little bit already. Is a risk though, where a lot of these softwares code for these really particular printing services upfront and don't certify other printers. Because if there are any disruptions in the supply chain, which we have for sure seen over the last couple of years, you can kind of run into a situation where a lot of end users can't find the printers that they need for these softwares, and all of a sudden it's a big scramble all at the last minute trying to find whatever units they can that are left anywhere. Thankfully, Star has been pretty decent about maintaining supply levels on these TSP100IIIs at least. So I would imagine it would be similar for the TSP100IV as well. So there is some solace in that. But if you are a software developer listening to this and you're interested in Cloud Print and kind of getting your printer upgraded or your software upgraded for this particular printer, please take the time to support some other printing methods as well. Star has a ton of great resources on getting USB and Ethernet options certified. So take the time to do that now. Your end users will thank you later when they're able to find the printers that they need to work with your software. The final note that I wanted to make on this printer in my kind of analysis is the inclusion of the Android Open support and the hub functionality that's built into this printer, because that's a pretty notable function, especially for an entry-level printer like this. We've seen this technology used before on other printers, and it hasn't been super popular, probably because of the need for software to code specifically for it. That can be a really big barrier to entry, especially for really small software development companies. But this is the first time that a major manufacturer like Star has included that technology on their entry-level flagship product. And the TSP100III was supported by just about everything. So, there's probably, a lot of those are probably going to be moved on over to the 4 as well. So all of those factors will probably, if I had to guess, result in a greater adoption of that hub technology. And I'm really excited to see where that goes, because there's a lot of potential with that kind of technology. So yeah, that kind of wraps up my main points on that printer, on this printer. I think it's a really big step forward in terms of the kind of support and the infrastructure that they've built around it. And they've made some big jumps and some big changes that I haven't seen other printers do before. So I'm super excited to see how this does overall in the market. If you're interested in picking up one of these yourselves, there's a link in the description below where you can learn some more information and then potentially purchase the product. If you have any questions about how this is going to fit into your setup, definitely feel free to give us a call. Our number is on the screen now. But with that, thank you all so much for tuning in, and I look forward to having you on next time. Take care.